As late as a generation ago, we watched our parents use the mortar and pestle to pound plantain, breadfruit, cassava, patched corn, or sikiyafing to make a meal or a special snack. We saw them using the grater to grate coconut, making utensils from the calabash fruit, baskets, sifters, fish pots from the bamboo plant, and swizzle sticks from the lele tree. Don't forget those earthen firesides and ovens, which turned out such tasty breads, cakes, and bakes. This is what many West Indians over 60 grew up seeing, especially in the villages. For us children then, it was no different. We made our own toys from the resources around us and the knowledge handed down to us by subsequent generations. Enjoyable times were experienced by engaging in the process of creating those toys, from their beginnings to the accomplishment of the finished products. Some innovative children even made model planes, ships, or cars. Those were the days when children stimulated their minds by occupying their brain cells in productive ventures. With the advent of an increased standard of living, most parents were able to purchase ready-made toys for their children. Coupled with this phenomenon is the advent of the computer age and the whole multimedia revolution. Children are glued to the television, internet, cell phone, the BlackBerry, or such like gadgets. No time is left for creative activities. Every toy, every game, every program has already been created. This generation, generally speaking, is fast becoming a spectator generation. The aim of this video is to bring to the attention of this generation some of the toys we used to make and have them documented before they disappear forever from the cultural experiences of our society. As late as a generation ago, we watched our parents use the mortar and pestle to pound plantain, breadfruit, cassava, patched corn, or sikiyafing to make a meal or a special snack. We saw them using the grater to grate coconut, making utensils from the calabash fruit, baskets, sifters, fish pots from the bamboo plant, and swizzle sticks from the lele tree. Don't forget those earthen firesides and ovens, which turned out such tasty breads, cakes, and bakes. This is what many West Indians over 60 grew up seeing, especially in the villages. For us children then, it was no different. We made our own toys from the resources around us and the knowledge handed down to us by subsequent generations. The tractor is one of the externalities of World War I and II military machine, the tank, which technology was consequently applied to civilian applications. In certain parts of the Caribbean, Where quarries were mined and difficult roads were built, the tractor was used. Young children must have admired the power and agility of such an awesome machine. The author thinks that it is the awesomeness of this machine that heralded the invention of the bobine tractor. The bobine tractor consists of an empty bobine from a sewing machine. A knife or razor blade is used to serrate the circular edges of the wheel. A rubber band is sent through the hole of the wheel, and at one end of the hole, a piece of stick is placed through the rubber band as a stopper. At the other end is a longer stick used as a handle, which rests on a piece of candle with a hole through it to accommodate the rubber band. The user chains the toy by the handle, puts it down, and away goes the bobine tractor. The candle is used to regulate the speed of the toy.
In my days as a child, we learned to make everything, all our toys. Now I want to show you how you make a tractor. Now first thing you're going to get is a bobine. Now these bobines were used by seamstresses, sewing machine, and preferably get one with wood. Now it's hard to get a bobine made of wood, but I managed to get one. So that's the first thing you do, get a bobine. Like this, you will get a knife, blade, and you will serrate the edges, like this, serrate the edges, serrate the edges, serrate the edges, so that when you finish, it will look like this, see, well serrated. So that's the first step you do. Then you get parts, the other parts that you would need. You would need a handle, so you get we call this bamboo grasp, for lack of the more professional name, or you can get a popsicle stick or something like that. And then you cut it to length with a knife or something. I'll use this, cut it to length here. Right, so there you have one, cut to length, like this. So you have a serrated bobine. You have a stick like this. Then you have to carve a hole, a trench like this on the side of the bobine with a knife or saw, hacksaw, and carve a trench like this. The trench is to hold a stopper. And the next thing you do is to get a candle. Now I had to buy a whole set of candle here. You get one candle, and you're going to cut a piece of the candle. Yes, a small piece. This is used as sort of something to cause the smooth movement of the wheel, the serrated bobine. So there you go. You cut, and it's preferably to hot the blade on a stove, and cutting will be easier. And you cut a small piece, like about this size. You cut around. And you cut, and then as you cut, so you cut, and you get a piece like this. This is it. And then you get a knife and you sort of carve it in and get a hole through which a piece of rubber will pass. You would understand when I put all together. Or you get an old bicycle tube like this and you cut a piece like this. A very neat piece like this. But today I have a rubber band. I'm going to use a rubber band today. So we are going to put this thing together. here I have the rubber band, which in my day was a piece of the bicycle tube like this. But instead now I'm using this. And you, if you want to try, you can use a rubber band instead of a piece of a tube, bicycle tube. Now you insert it into this hole here, so that maybe I get something to help me insert it. To get it out here. There it goes, there it goes, there it goes. And then a piece of this bamboo grass. You just chip it out, I chip a piece here, and then you get it small enough so that it can go into this crevice or canal or this area here. So you get it and you shove it here. Now this is a stopper. And the reason why we do this is that when you're spinning it and chaining this tractor, it would not go around and around, it will stop here, so the rubber will be chained and have all its power. So there I go, I put the stopper here. Show this coming out. There I go. Oh, I move this step, that's it. There I put the stopper. There it goes. There it goes. It goes, it goes, it goes. Here it is. Stopper. Here it is. Right. And on this side, you insert the candle that we spoke about. Carefully into this loop. Into this loop, we put it into this loop here. And here it comes. So you see, you have the stopper, you have the serrated bobine, you have the candle where it holds, everything is set. Now you're looking for that handle to chain. And then this piece of bamboo that I talked about, there is it, there it is. And we put it here. Now we'll have to tie it here. Since it's too long, to make the chain tight enough, we're going to tie it. Alright, let's pause a minute to get it tied, and from there we'll proceed. Here it is. Get it properly tied here. And now we don't want this excess, so I will just cut out this excess here. Right. So there we go. Are you ready to see my tractor in motion? Here you go, you give it some chain, you see? I give it some chain. So that's why this stopper is here, that this will not turn while I'm giving it chain. See, so there I go, chaining it, there I go, there we go, chaining and chaining. Is it ready to roll? Or something. There we go, you see? Oh, so the tractor is taking off. Alright? Here it is, taking off again. Come on, tractor, come on. And sometimes we add a little shovel to the end. Down she goes, you see? So that's the tractor. Let me get it on the ground now and give it a good roll. Right? Here it is. We had really joy in our days. Here it is. There you go, tractor. There you go. There you go, along. There it goes. The tractor is in motion. Yeah, what a beauty we had in our days. See? Tractor is in motion. Tractor is in motion.
No part of a Caribbean island is far from the sea. Children of older generations were accustomed to seeing sailboats and ships which traversed the Caribbean Sea or the Atlantic Ocean. So it was not difficult for them to create toy boats from material around them. The paper boat was the delight of many infants, from the first stage to the first standard. It is made entirely by a method of folding a page of paper. More advanced toy boats were made of bamboo or coconut shells. A sail was often attached.
I am about to make a paper boat. In my early days in primary school, we got a page from our copybooks and made it into a square. The extra piece I am cutting out. We had no paper scissors. This is the way we cut it out. Crease it there, good. And now I'm tearing out the extra piece. Then we fold it this way. Give it a good crease there. And the other side we did the same. We do the same. Then I'm going to fold this out like this. And always give it a good seam. Turn the other side now. Give it a good seam. Then open it up. Pull the edges out. Press it down. Then you open it up a bit. And here is your paper boat. Made with sail and everything. Ready to go. 2 boats. Ready to sail. Ready to go to a boat race now.
You know, I've been saying before that we Caribbean people are familiar with the sea. And in my day, we see sailing vessels ply the Atlantic Ocean or the Caribbean Sea. So we emulate and we try to make boats that look like what we have seen in our day. And some of the things we use to make our boat, as you have seen the paper boat before, but we actually made boats that can go in water. And one of them was the coconut husk boat. And there it is, the husk, the coconut is removed, the husk is there, it's already shaped like a boat. And there you insert a shaft here, which you secure in a hole here in the coconut husk by gluing. And here at the top region, you emulate the sails by that we saw on sailing ships and sailing boats. We will use a piece of fabric, a piece of plastic or something of the sort. And there we have a boat. Sailing, sailing, sailing. Yeah, so that was the joy, you know, in seeing these homemade boat sailing, maybe in a bathtub, in a little pool or somewhere, or even in the sea. Yes. And similar to this coconut husk boat was the bamboo boat. Well, let me show you what we did to make a bamboo boat. Now this piece of bamboo is just a small replica of the bamboo that we actually use. The bamboo that we actually use will be about 10 times larger than this in volume and a little longer in joints. So we'll cut off a joint here, leave the joint intact. We'll cut off a joint over here and we'll leave the joint intact. Then we'll get a cutlass and slit the bamboo, the entire bamboo in two. So we have a hollow looking vessel like this coconut shell. And then across the board, across this hollow area, we would cut a piece of board, maybe from cedar or box board, and we glue it to the sides of the bamboo. And then we're going to pierce a hole through the board and then insert a shaft here, which will connect a sail as you have seen here. And in the same way, we'll have the bamboo boat. Sailing, sailing, sailing. So these are some of the things we do, or we did in our day, and we are happy about it. We involve our time in making productive things like these, and we are happy with what we had.
All right.
The scooter, or more precisely, the kick scooter, is a human-powered vehicle with a handlebar, deck, and wheels that is propelled by a rider pushing off the ground. Some scooters carried 3 wheels, but in the islands of the Caribbean, they were commonly made with 2 wheels, somewhat like a bicycle. Primitive scooters have been made by hand in urban industrial areas for at least 100 years. In Trinidad and Tobago, the most common scooters were made from wood, ball-bearing wheels from motor vehicles, door hinges which enable the scooter to steer, and some parts of a shoe which were used to cover the back wheel for brakes.
Now tell me something about that scooter. What it is made from? What is it made from?
Wood.
Yeah.
It is made from wood.
It's made from wood. Do you know the kind of wood, the special kind of wood? No? And I see a very peculiar, strange wheel there. What is that? Where do you get that wheel from? Or what is it? It's called a bearing, right? And they usually get it from the engine of a car or a motor vehicle. Yeah, that's the kind of thing we used to get. We call it ball bearing, right? And these guys will scoot it, right? Show me how they do to scoot it. And then 1 foot on the ground, kicking it, right? Yeah. That's right. So go pass it on the side now. Yeah. So that is scoot. And I see some nails. Oh, that is very ingenious. Instead of hinges that we used to use in those days, we noticed that they are nails, only nails. And that is very, very nice. Very, very nice.
Carts were of different types. Carts used as toys. Carts used as equipment. 1-wheel carts. 2-wheel carts. 3-wheel carts. 4-wheel carts. Some carts were pushed, others were dragged. The Rail Joyride toy cart had 4 wheels. The 2 front wheels attached to a bar which could be steered by the rider, and the 2 back wheels were constant. A helper would push the cart and the driver steered for his safety. There were many materials that were used by young boys in the Caribbean as rollers. Examples of some of them were wooden barrel hoops, motorcar tires with the inner form section cut off, bicycle wheels with the hub and spokes removed. The most popular was the bicycle wheel. A long stick was placed in the hollow of the wheel while the boy or girl will push off at high speed. For the other rollers, a sort of fork stick or small coconut leaf bat was used to propel the roller. Roller races were a popular pastime activity. The game of cricket, brought to the West Indies by the British, was always a favorite sport. Boys used to play cricket on the road, in the backyard, anywhere there was an open space. The traditional gears for a cricket game were a bat, a ball, gloves for the wicketkeeper, and leg pads and a wicket. Most boys in the villages could not have afforded these expensive gadgets, so they improvised. For the ball they used a fruit such as a lemon, a nut from the gugu palm, or a wooden ball made from a guava or boli tree. For the bat, they used a cut-off coconut leaf stem or a flat piece of wood cut out in the shape of a bat. For the wicket, they used a pitch oil tin can or 3 sticks from the near bushes. That was it.
I see you have a bat in your hand.
Yeah.
And what is made from?
From wood.
All right, who made it?
I made it.
Yourself. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You think it's close to a real cricket bat?
Yeah, kind of.
Fairly close. What would you make it out of?
It's a cedar.
See there. And I notice you have wickets behind there. You get that in the bush somewhere, right?
West Indians are interested in sports, and boxing is one of the highly regarded ones. Trinidad and Tobago has produced boxers such as Yolan Pompey, Gentle Daniel, and more recently, Claude Noel. Pin Boxer is a toy game which reflects the interest in this sport. It is made up of a matchbox with 2 pins implanted, and as a person opens and closes the empty matchbox, the 2 pins seem to be boxing each other.
Another toy we used to make in my day was called pin boxes. In a while, I'll demonstrate exactly how it was done. Stay tuned. I'm going to demonstrate to you now how we made and operated the pin boxes. We would get a matchbox, and in my time, the matchbox was usually made from wood box, some sort of matchwood box. But today it is made from cardboard. It's not so efficient, but for demonstration, you would have an idea how it works, how it worked. And maybe you might be able to get a matchbox made from wood. So there we go. We stuck 2 pins. See, I have chosen one with a red head and one with a sort of silver ivory head in the matchbox. And then this is an empty matchbox there, all the matches removed. And we will choose a name, and for the purpose of this demonstration, let me choose Muhammad Ali and George Foreman. So we have these 2 boxes here now. And as you open and close the box, the pins seem to be boxing each other. And that was the game.
A sling is a projectile weapon typically used to throw a blunt projectile such as a stone, clay, or lead. It is also known as the shepherd sling. A sling has a small cradle or pouch in the middle of 2 lengths of cords. Slingshots, on the other hand, as used by young boys in the Caribbean, depend on strong elastic material, typically vulcanized natural rubber or equivalent, which had to wait until the invention of vulcanized rubber by Charles Goodyear in 1839. Wood to make the fork stick usually came from the pui or guava trees. The tongue for holding the stone or other projectile came from an old shoe.
Now this is the type of slingshot we made here as boys in the Caribbean. You will see a fork stick. We got a fork stick from trees in the woods, preferably the guava or the pui. So this one was got from a pui, right? And then we would get our rubber from a motorcar tube or a bicycle tube. And then we will attach it with a rubber, with piece of the rubber. We'll roll it around and attach it to the fork stick. And for a proper grip, we also roll the rubber around the handle of the fork stick. And then we're ready to go. Now this I consider to be the most dangerous of all our toy weapons. And we used it for like shooting inanimate targets, so shooting things like squirrel or cornbirds that destroy our parents' crop. For demonstration's sake, suppose you are a cornbird or a squirrel eating my father's crop of corn or cocoa. We would just, as boys, creep up very easily, silently, aim at it. There you cornbird, and there we give it.
The pop gun is a toy that often uses air pressure to fire a small tethered or untethered projectile out of a barrel. A pop gun consists of a hollow cylindrical barrel which is sealed at one end with the projectile and at the other with a long-handed plunger. The plunger is rapidly forced down the barrel, building up internal air pressure until the projectile is forced out with a pop sound.
Here we are going to make a pop gun. As I was saying, we got resources from around us, and the most usable at all time was the bamboo. So we cut off the 2 nuts and we have it here. Ideally, you make it with a green piece of bamboo with a much longer shaft than this one is. But this is just for demonstration, so I'm showing you. So you get a piece of paper, you slightly wet it to make the first stopper, tear it out, wet it there, some water to make a stopper. And then you get the stopper here, and you put it in at one hole, one side of the hole, and you get a plunger. There you go, and you ram it down. Ram it down. And there you ram down, you see? It's closed here at this end completely. And then take out the plunger again, get another piece of paper, wet it again. And then you slightly blow some air in it, like this. And then you stop it like this again with another plunger. And then you ram it again halfway, ram it down halfway. As I say, it is more effective with a longer shaft and longer shaft and a longer bamboo, and preferably a green bamboo. And then you would keep on popping until it gets the thing, it builds up and flies out with a popping sound. Now this didn't really give you the popping sound here because the bamboo is too short and it is preferable when it's greener. So this is the basic idea of a pop gun.
Blowpipes were used by Amerindians as a hunting weapon. School children used bamboo or a type of bamboo grass as the shaft of the blowpipe through which they spit out seeds such as shak-shak. They come off with a force, but they never seriously hurt anyone.
So we hear about the Amerindians using the blowpipe. We are very amused by that. So we too invented our own blowpipes by using a piece of bamboo, cutting out the two edges, two holes, as you can see, and then getting some sort of seed in our hands. I haven't got seeds as we used to use the shak-shak. This is the shak-shak, put it in our mouth and ready to power up our blowpipe. There we go. Yeah, that was it. And we had quite some fun using our blowpipes.
The earlier generation of West Indians was familiar with stories about the Caribs and Arawaks using bow and arrows. They were also familiar with tales of Robin Hood and the rogues of Sherwood Forest, thus seeing pictures of bows and arrows. Here in Trinidad and Tobago, boys used to make their toy bows from wood like mangrove, Chinese tamarind, boley plant, etc., and used twine from jute bags or flour bags. The arrows were usually made from thin bamboo or other slender wood in the bushes. It was mostly used as a toy to shoot at inanimate objects.
Another toy we used to make was the bow and arrow. We would read about the rogues of Sherwood Forest, Robin Hood and the rogues of Sherwood Forest, and see them use the bow and the arrow. And two, in our history classes, we learn about the Caribs and the Arawaks, how they use bow and arrows in their warfare and in their hunting. So we too make our own, we made our own bow and arrows. We get a piece of wood from the boley tree or from the mangrove, and preferably twine from the flour bag. In those days, flour bags were sewed with a twine. So we'll get a twine and then pull a stick, keep it together, and there we have a bow, right? And then we get a piece of straight stick from past the mangrove, a piece of bamboo or something like that for the arrow, and carve a little hole here to accommodate the string or the twine. Then we have a bow and arrow ready to hunt. And there I go, my target. I'm feeling like Robin Hood. Here we go. There it is. Accurate.
Throughout the Caribbean, it is common to see forts with cannons still mounted at lookout points, as if waiting to surprise the enemy. This is a reflection of the era when European powers battled for dominance in the Caribbean. What grew out of that was the bamboo cannon, which was handed down to us as a toy. We come to know it as bursting bamboo, which is especially popular during the Christmas season.
Shakil, you're telling me how you make what you have before you is you call it bamboo, because we burst that during the Christmas time also, right? Now tell me how exactly, where you go to get that bamboo?
Well, You mostly have to go by the river.
But-
That's the only place where you can get bamboo to bust.
Oh, they usually go by the river, right?
Yeah.
Now, this piece, do you have to choose a special type of bamboo?
Well, that's the size. I have to watch how big it is, you know.
How big it is?
The hole inside won't be too small.
Oh, it must not be too small.
Yeah.
So what you say that is about, how long? Is about 6 feet long or what?
Well, they really come by the joints.
Oh, okay. So at least how many joints you have to have?
At least 3.
About at least 3 good joints.
Yeah, like this.
All right.
Like 2 when bust, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I noticed that I noticed there's like something like a hole on this side, right?
Hole.
You have a hole on this side.
The hole is ready for the song to come out.
So you burst that joint.
Yeah, burst all the joints coming through down. Here.
You burst all the joint coming to there, but the last joint.
You can't bust down.
Oh, you can't burst the last joint.
The picture that'll be inside there.
Oh, you put petrol,
Cross.
kerosene
Yeah, and
inside there. So you have to keep that to keep the fuel.
Yeah.
All right. And I noticed a little hole. What is that hole about? Tell me
Well,
something.
this is the hole to boost, where it's boost from.
Oh, that's the hole you burst from.
Yeah, throw
So,
picture.
so in a while you'll show me how you throw petrol inside the hole and then you burst it from that hole. Well, in a while I'm coming back to see how you actually burst that. All right. We talked about how you get the bamboo and so on, right? And then you bore the hole, you get it ready. Now I see you're ready to go. So what is this I see blazing here? What is this?
Well, that is the main light.
So you call that a flambeau?
Yeah.
And some people call it boule de feu.
Cool.
Yeah, you don't know that name. That's the French word for it. But that is the flambeau. So you keep it lighting all the time.
Yeah.
And what is the oil inside of it?
The same petrol.
Petrol or kerosene?
Yeah.
Now, in this thing, I see you have power in it. What you put in it?
Well, it's just mostly petrol when you get
You,
heated now.
you put petrol.
Yeah.
But you know some people put carbide.
Yeah, well, that I not talk about some of that.
Yeah, but you know about the petrol.
Yeah.
All right, so you put petrol in it. And then, you when you put the petrol, what is the next step?
Light the stick
You light the stick, right?
and yeah.
Why you have to blow it?
Well, you blow out the smoke so it won't be choked up.
Oh, okay. All right, so if you didn't blow the smoke, you won't get a good burst.
No.
All right. If you blow the smoke, you won't get a good burst.
No, if you blow the smoke, it
You won't get a good burst.
Yeah.
All right.
That's why I have to blow out some of the smoke.
All right. Whoa, it shoots like a cannon.
Yeah.
Oh boy, that is it. Mhm.
Para hacer montar, para hacer música.
We watched our parents play musical instruments, especially during the Christmas season, and we tried to imitate them. One of our favorite toy musical instruments was the quattro. Sometimes we substituted with the banjo. The toy quattro was generally made from boxboard. We used an oval herring in tomato sauce can and traced out the oval shape with a pencil. Then we cut out the shape with a hacksaw blade. Enough room is left for the shaft, which we also cut out with a hacksaw or knife. At the top of the shaft, we bored holes with a hot 6-inch nail to accommodate the screws to which the strings were attached. For the banjo, instead of using an oval herring in tomato saucepan, we used the wrong can.
We watch our parents play music, especially during the Christmas season. And one of the things that we children admire them playing was the quattro or the mandolin. So we too try to make our own quattro. And here it is, you see, this is a herring in tomato sauce can. We took it, of course it's empty, we got off the cover, so this is the back of it, the front of it, of course. We put on a flat surface of wood, what we used to call boxboard, and we traced out the foam like this. And then we cut off the foam with a hacksaw blade, cut all around, and then we have something which looks like this. And then somehow we nail it on or glue it on to the piece of wood. And then we got some 6-inch nail, hot it in the fire and make holes for the screws. And then we make wooden screws which we insert into the hole and then get some sort of string. We use wire, we use twine, or more sophisticated, we may use catguts. And here we have a banjo. Of course, we carve a hole here with a hacksaw or some other knife or something like that. Yeah, and then we have a quattro. So we played music. And that was it. This was one of them, our treasured toy, the toy quattro. We made our musical instruments also by patterning them after what adults really played in those days, as the flute. And here I'm going to tell you how we used to make a bamboo flute. You cut a piece of bamboo, the shaft, much longer than this one. But this is what I got at the time for demonstration. And you cut out one knot completely so that you see the hole here. And the other knot, you will retain it, so no hole. And then you will bore 6 finger holes, like 3 on this side for the hole, 3 on this side, and a mouthpiece for this side. And you have it there, a mouthpiece. I have it the wrong way, this is the way, and this way. And this is the one that we have completed, a piece of bamboo. We shaved the bamboo, and this is more delicate. So you see the finger holes here and the mouthpiece. Right? And then you play like this, like any other flute, this way when you play. I'm going to play Amazing Grace on this. Amazing Grace that I played on this flute. So that's how we use our own resources around to make our music in those days.
This was the delight of every school child. It afforded even the poorest child the opportunity to play music. Sometimes paper and comb bands were organized. All you needed was a comb, which was covered with a piece of paper, and off you went playing your favorite tunes.
I was told that they used to play the comb. Comb with some paper. I believe it was a brown paper long ago.
The paper that you used to cover your books with?
Something like that, or thinner paper, that's all?
Yeah, thin
So
paper.
we're gonna attempt to play the comb. With the comb and paper and with a little something like that. So I hope you enjoy.
These toys do not exhaust the toys we used to make. There were less popular ones specific to some areas. That was what we, the older generation of West Indians, spent joyful moments doing. How could we forget such pleasant pages of our youthful lives? We used the resources we could find around us to add richness to our lives. Can you find some time retracing our footsteps?